Captain Minho rubbed his tired eyes as he stared at the data streaming across his monitor. The numbers didn't make sense. After 37 years floating through the darkness of space, Earth's deep space probe had finally sent back its last transmission before dying. What it found should have been impossible. "Commander, you need to see this," called out Dr. Hijin from across the control room. Her voice carried a strange mix of excitement and disbelief that made everyone stop what they were doing. The main screen flickered to life, showing a three-dimensional map of space near the edge of their solar system. What appeared on the display made the entire room fall silent. Stretching across nearly half a light-year was the largest collection of debris anyone had ever seen. Millions upon millions of tons of twisted metal, strange crystals, and unknown objects drifted in the cold emptiness of space. "It's a graveyard," whispered Engineer Dongwu, his face pale as he studied the images. "But whose?" Dr. Hijin manipulated the controls, zooming in on different sections of the massive debris field. Each piece of wreckage was clearly artificial, built by intelligent beings, but the designs were unlike anything in Earth's databases. Smooth curves mixed with sharp angles, materials that seemed to bend light around them, structures that defied human understanding of physics. "Look at this," she said, highlighting a section of the field. The probe detected energy signatures. After floating in space for who knows how long, some of this junk is still powered. Captain Minho leaned forward, studying the readouts more carefully. The probe had managed to scan several pieces of debris before its power finally died. What it found was extraordinary. Power sources that still hummed with energy. Communication devices that operated on principles Earth's scientists could barely imagine. Medical equipment that seemed to repair itself even while floating in the vacuum of space. "Where did it all come from?" asked Communications Officer In-young. "Different places," replied Dr. Hijin, pulling up the analysis data. The probe identified at least 15 different types of hull materials, maybe 20 different power source designs. "This isn't wreckage from one civilization. It's a dumping ground." The realization hit everyone at the same time. Some advanced alien civilizations had been using the edge of Earth's solar system as their personal garbage dump. For how long, nobody could say. But the amount of debris suggested it had been going on for centuries, maybe millennia. Commander Jae-sung entered the room just as the team was beginning to understand what they had found. As head of Earth's Deep Space Salvage Division, he had spent his entire career recovering valuable materials from old satellites and space stations. But this was different. This was bigger than anything humanity had ever attempted. "How much are we talking about?" he asked, studying the display. "Conservative estimate." Dr. Hijin pulled up her calculations. 40 million tons of artificial materials, maybe more. The probe only scanned a tiny fraction of the field before it died. Jae-sung felt his heart racing. Earth had been struggling with resource shortages for decades. Rare earth elements needed for advanced electronics were becoming harder to find. The materials needed for fusion reactors were still too expensive for widespread use. But here, floating just at the edge of their own solar system, was more advanced technology than humanity had ever dreamed of. "What's the closest piece of debris to Earth?" he asked. Engineer Dongwu checked his readings. "About 8 months. Travel time with our fastest ships. But Commander, we don't know what we're dealing with. This could be dangerous. What if it's radioactive? What if it's booby-trapped? What if whoever dumped it comes back?" "What if it's not?" replied Jae-sung. "Look at these energy readings. Look at these material compositions. One piece of this junk could advance human technology by decades." Captain Minho nodded slowly. The opportunity was too good to ignore. "How quickly can we mount a salvage mission?" "Give me 3 months, Jae-sung said, his mind already working through the logistics. "I'll need our best salvage ship, a full science team, and enough supplies for a year-long mission. But we can do it." Dr. Hijin was still studying the probe. Data, her excitement growing by the minute. Each new piece of information revealed more possibilities. Hull materials stronger than anything Earth could produce. Power systems more efficient than fusion. Communication devices that seemed to work faster than light. "There's something else," she said quietly. The probe detected organic compounds in some of the debris. Food waste. Biological matter. This isn't just broken machines. This is garbage. Real garbage. Kitchen scraps. Worn-out clothes. Broken furniture. Whoever has been dumping here treats this stuff the same way we treat our household trash. The room fell silent again as everyone absorbed this information. What alien civilizations considered worthless garbage contained technology beyond Earth's wildest dreams. Materials that could revolutionize human civilization were floating in space. Abandoned and forgotten. Commander Jae-sung smiled for the first time in months. "Gentlemen and ladies," he said, "I think we're about to learn that one being's trash really can be another's treasure. Let's go shopping." Dr. So-young pulled off her protective gloves and stared at the readings on her computer screen. She had been working for 18 hours straight, but sleep was the last thing on her mind. The alien device sitting on her laboratory table was supposed to be dead, discarded as useless junk by whoever had thrown it into space. But her instruments told a different story. "This is impossible," she muttered, checking the numbers for the 10th time. The house-sized power core that her salvage team had recovered 3 weeks ago was supposed to be empty, burned out, worthless. That's why the aliens had thrown it away. But her tests showed it still contained enough energy to power the entire city of Seoul for a decade. Across the laboratory, Chief Engineer Dong-woo was having his own moment of disbelief. He had spent the last 2 days trying to understand how a simple communication device could transmit messages across impossible distances without any delay. According to everything humans knew about physics, information could not travel faster than light. But this alien garbage was doing exactly that. "Dr. So-young," he called out, his voice shaking with excitement. "I just sent a test message to our research station on Mars. It arrived before I finished typing it." The research facility was buzzing with activity. Every day brought new discoveries that challenged everything humanity thought they knew about science and technology. Medical Officer Hae-won had found devices that could regrow human organs in minutes. Materials specialist Kyung-ko had discovered metals that were stronger than diamond but lighter than aluminum. Energy expert Bioram had identified power sources that seemed to create more energy than they consumed. The medical applications alone could change everything, reported Dr. Hae-won during the daily briefing. She held up a small device that looked like a broken toy. This nanite injector was found in what appeared to be alien medical waste. It can repair damaged tissue at the cellular level. I tested it on lab mice with severe injuries. Complete healing in less than an hour. Captain Minho, who had been appointed as overall mission commander, listened to each report with growing amazement. Every piece of alien garbage they brought back turned out to be revolutionary technology. What Earth's most advanced scientists had been trying to develop. For decades, these unknown aliens had apparently built, used, and thrown away like old newspapers. "How many species do we think contributed to this debris field?" he asked. "At least 20, replied Dr. So-young. "Maybe more. Each piece of technology uses different principles, different materials, different energy sources. It's like finding a library of advanced science, but all the books are written in different languages." The breakthrough came when engineer Dong-woo figured out how to read the alien instruction manuals. Hidden inside each device were tiny crystal storage units that contained complete technical specifications. Not just how to use the technology, but how to build it, how to repair it, and how to improve it. "They're incredibly detailed," he explained to the team. "It's like each device comes with its own engineering textbook." Once we cracked the first translation protocol, the rest became easier. These aliens were very thorough record keepers. Within 2 months, Earth's first alien technology fusion reactor was producing power for the research facility. The reactor was built entirely from components salvaged from alien garbage, but it worked better than anything humans had ever designed. It was clean, efficient, and produced no radioactive waste. Dr. So-young stood in the reactor control room, watching the energy readings climb steadily. "One piece of their trash is replacing our entire power grid," she said in wonder. "What were these beings like? How advanced were their civilizations?" "Advanced enough to throw away technology that we consider miraculous," replied Captain Min, "but apparently not advanced enough to avoid whatever happened to them." The salvage missions continued every few weeks. Each expedition brought back more alien garbage, and each piece of garbage revealed new secrets. Earth's scientists learned to identify valuable components hidden inside the most damaged debris. They discovered how to repair systems that had been broken for centuries. They began to understand how different alien technologies could work together. Young Su, the newly appointed director of alien technology integration, was preparing his report for Earth's government leaders. The numbers were staggering. In less than 6 months, humanity had acquired technology that would have taken centuries to develop naturally. Faster than light communication, unlimited clean energy, advanced medical treatment, and materials that could revolutionize manufacturing. The implications are enormous, he wrote in his report. "We estimate that our overall technological capability has advanced by approximately 300 years. Our understanding of physics has been completely revised. Our energy problems have been solved. Our medical capabilities have increased exponentially. But even more important than the technology itself was what humanity was learning about their place in the universe. The debris field proved that advanced civilizations existed throughout the galaxy. These beings had technology so advanced that what they considered garbage was beyond human imagination. "We're not alone," Dr. So-young said to her team as they prepared for another day of analysis. "And apparently, we've been living next to their garbage dump for thousands of years without knowing it." Chief Engineer Dongwu smiled as he powered up another piece of alien equipment. "Lucky for us, someone else's trash is turning out to be our greatest treasure." The first alien ship appeared without warning on a Tuesday morning. Lieutenant Sujin was monitoring Earth's new deep space sensors when the massive vessel suddenly materialized just outside the orbit of Mars. Her coffee cup crashed to the floor as alarms began blaring throughout the command center. "Contact! Contact! We have an unidentified vessel approaching Earth," she shouted into her communication device. Captain Minho rushed into the control room, still pulling on his uniform jacket. The main screen showed a ship unlike anything in Earth's databases. It was enormous, easily the size of a small city, with smooth curves and strange angles that seemed to shift and move even as they watched. "Are they hostile?" he asked, his voice tight with tension. "Unknown, sir," replied Sujin. "They're scanning us with some kind of energy beam, but it doesn't appear to be a weapon." Aboard the alien vessel, Captain Zilkarith of the Vorthok Trade Federation stared at his own screens in complete confusion. His ship's sensors were detecting advanced fusion signatures from the small blue planet his people had surveyed centuries ago. Back then, the primitive inhabitants had barely learned to use fire properly. Now, they were producing energy readings that suggested highly advanced technology. "This makes no sense," he muttered to his crew. "These beings were using wooden boats and metal swords the last time we checked. How did they develop Melkorian reactor technology in just a few hundred years?" On Earth, Ambassador Ji-hoon was preparing for humanity's first official contact with an alien civilization. He stood on the bridge of Earth's newest diplomatic vessel, a ship built entirely from salvaged alien components. Behind him, Dr. Yoon monitored the translation systems they had developed from recovered alien communication devices. "Are you ready for this?" asked Captain Woojin, who was piloting their ship toward the alien vessel. "As ready as anyone can be for something that has never happened before," replied Ji-hoon, adjusting his formal diplomatic uniform. The two ships met in the space between Earth and Mars. The alien vessel dwarfed the human ship, but Ji-hoon was not intimidated. After months of studying alien technology, he had learned that bigger did not always mean better. "Unknown vessel, this is Captain Zilkerith of the Vorthok Trade Federation," came the first alien voice ever heard by human ears. The translation system worked perfectly, converting the strange clicking and buzzing sounds into clear Korean. "Please identify yourselves and explain how you acquired advanced galactic technology." Ji-hoon took a deep breath and activated the communication system. "Greetings, Captains. I am Ambassador Ji-hoon, representing the planet Earth and the human species. We welcome you to our solar system." "That does not answer my question," replied the alien captain, his voice sharp with suspicion. "Our sensors detect Melkorian fusion reactors, Zephyrian communication arrays, and Alteron medical systems aboard your vessel. These technologies are restricted to members of the Galactic Consortium. How did a primitive species acquire them?" Dr. Yunji looked at Ji-hoon with raised eyebrows. This was the moment they had prepared for, but it still felt surreal. Ji-hoon smiled calmly and gave the answer that would shock the galaxy. "We found them in your garbage," he said simply. The silence that followed lasted for nearly a full minute. When Captain Zilkerith finally responded, his voice was filled with disbelief. "Impossible. What garbage? What are you talking about?" "The debris field at the edge of our solar system," explained Ji-hoon. "Your people and others have been dumping broken technology there for centuries. We salvaged it, repaired it, and learned from it." Another long silence. "Then, you are telling me that you achieved technological advancement by ... collecting trash." "That's correct," replied Ji-hoon. "Your broken fusion reactors still had enough energy to power our cities. Your discarded communication devices taught us how to build faster-than-light networks. Your medical waste contained nanites that can cure diseases we had never imagined treating." Aboard the alien ship, Captain Zilkerith was having difficulty accepting what he was hearing. He quickly sent messages to other ships in the area, and soon a small fleet of vessels from different species had gathered to witness this unprecedented situation. The Takari Empire sent their fastest warship. The Alteron Republic dispatched their best scientists. The Zephyrian Mining Consortium sent their most experienced engineers. All of them arrived to find the same shocking truth. A primitive species had achieved advanced technology by salvaging galactic garbage. "This is embarrassing," admitted Captain Velterra of the Takari Empire during a private communication with the other alien commanders. "Our broken mining equipment is now powering their orbital defense platforms." "At least your people only lost mining tools," replied Dr. Quinash of the Alteron Republic. "They built their entire medical system from our hospital waste." The revelation sent shockwaves throughout the Galactic Consortium. Emergency meetings were called. Scientists demanded to study human salvage techniques. Military commanders worried about security implications. But the immediate problem was practical. The galaxy produced enormous amounts of dangerous waste, and disposal was always difficult and expensive. Toxic debris fields, unstable energy sources, and contaminated materials were constant hazards to space travel and colonization. Commander Jae-sung received the first official contract offer 3 days later. The message came through the new diplomatic channels, translated into simple Korean. "The Galactic Consortium hereby offers the human species an official sanitation contract. Payment will be provided for the removal and disposal of hazardous debris in the Nexus Gate region. Warning: this area is considered extremely dangerous. 3 species have declared it unsuitable for salvage operations." Jae-soon read the message twice, then began laughing. "They want to hire us as janitors," he told his staff. "They're offering to pay us to take their garbage." Captain Jinwoo, who had led the most successful salvage missions, grinned widely. Sir, I think we should accept. After all, we've gotten pretty good at turning their trash into treasure. Chief Salvage Officer Su Ben floated in zero gravity, watching her crews work through the thick glass of her command module. Below her, dozens of human workers in advanced spacesuits moved through the Kithon graveyard, like skilled surgeons, carefully extracting valuable components from what the Galactic Consortium had declared irredeemably contaminated waste. The hegemony was right about one thing, said Captain Wu Jin, drifting up beside her. This place is definitely dangerous. We've lost 3 salvage drones to those energy discharges. Su Ben nodded, but her eyes were bright with excitement rather than concern. Dangerous, yes, but look what we're finding. Those energy discharges aren't random. They're coming from active power cores that the previous owners thought were dead. 6 months had passed since humanity had accepted its first galactic sanitation contract. What had started as a simple garbage collection job had evolved into the most sophisticated waste processing operation in known space. While other species saw only hazardous debris, human engineers saw opportunities that others had missed. Status report from Team 7, came a voice through the communication system. It was Engineer Haywan, working deep inside the wreckage of what appeared to be an ancient battleship. I've found something incredible down here. The aliens thought this reactor was completely burned out, but it's actually running on a backup system I've never seen before. Su Ben smiled. This was becoming a common occurrence. Time after time, her teams discovered that what alien species considered broken beyond repair was actually just operating in ways the original builders had forgotten about or never understood. The secret was that humans had learned to see patterns where others saw only chaos. Dr. Kyung-ho's research. Teams could identify functional nanotechnology inside the most corroded alien medical waste. Engineer Donghaen's workshops could combine Zephyrian power cells with Alteron processing units to create hybrid systems that worked better than either original design. The beautiful thing, explained Dr. Kyung-ho during the weekly team meeting, is that these alien species design their technology to work with their own equipment only. They never imagined that someone might combine components from different civilizations. But humans are good at making things work together, added Engineer Dong-hee-an. We've been doing it our entire history. We take ideas from different cultures, different time periods, different fields of study, and we mix them together to create something new. This approach was paying off in ways that amazed even the human crews. A communication device that had been permanently damaged by cosmic radiation started working perfectly after they connected it to a power source from a completely different species. Medical nanites that had been contaminated beyond use began functioning normally when they figured out how to reset their programming using techniques learned from alien entertainment systems. The galaxy's dependence on human cleanup crews grew every month. What had started as occasional contracts for the most dangerous debris fields had expanded to regular maintenance of shipping lanes, orbital stations, and even entire star systems. We just received 3 new contract offers, reported Communications Officer Einyoung during the morning briefing. The Takari Empire wants us to clear the debris around their old mining colonies. The Alteron Republic needs help with some unstable research stations, and the Vorthok Federation is asking us to clean up after their latest trade war. Captain Wujin looked at the payment offers and whistled softly. They're paying us more and more for each job. I think they're starting to realize how valuable our services really are. What the aliens didn't realize was that with each contract, humanity was becoming more technologically advanced than the civilizations they worked for. Every piece of garbage they collected taught them something new about galactic technology. Every impossible repair they completed added to their growing database of scientific knowledge, operations. Director Bioram was preparing her quarterly report for Earth's government when she realized the full scope of what was happening. Her teams had now processed waste from 47 different alien species. They had repaired technology that had been broken for centuries. They had combined incompatible systems to create entirely new types of equipment. "We're not just cleaning up their garbage," she wrote in her report. "We're learning from it. Every broken machine teaches us how it was built. Every discarded component shows us new ways to solve old problems. Every failed experiment gives us ideas for our own research." The most remarkable discovery came when engineer Sung Min figured out how to repair what the aliens called quantum-locked systems. These were pieces of technology that had been damaged in ways that made them impossible to fix using normal methods. The original builders had written them off as total losses. "The trick," Sangmin explained to his fascinated colleagues, "is that they're not really broken. They're just stuck in a feedback loop. If you approach the problem from the right angle, you can unlock the system and restore full functionality." This breakthrough allowed human crews to salvage technology that even the original builders had given up on. Ancient defensive systems came back to life under human hands. Experimental weapons that had been abandoned for centuries began working again. Research equipment that had been lost for millennia started producing data. Subin watched another successful salvage operation through her command module window and smiled with satisfaction. The Galactic Consortium still thought of humans as clever janitors, useful for cleaning up messes that others wouldn't touch. They had no idea that their hired garbage collectors had quietly become the most technologically advanced civilization in known space. "Let them keep underestimating us," she said to Captain Wu Jin. "It makes our job easier." Admiral Taeyang was drinking his morning coffee when the emergency alarm shattered the peaceful quiet of his office. The red lights flashing across his communication panel told him this was not a drill. He pressed the priority channel button and heard the voice of Communications Officer Ein Young, tight with fear. "Admiral, we have a galaxy-wide emergency. The Harbinger network has reactivated. All major civilizations are reporting attacks on their ships and colonies." Taeyong felt his blood run cold. Every salvage operator in human space knew about the Harbinger network. The ancient defensive system had been built by a long-dead civilization millions of years ago. For centuries, it had been dormant, its massive satellites floating silently in space, like sleeping giants. But now, according to the frantic alien, transmissions flooding the communication channels, those giants had awakened. "How bad is it?" he asked, already knowing the answer would be terrible. 17 star systems under attack, replied In Young. "The satellites are treating all modern ships as hostile targets. The hegemony lost 12 vessels in the first hour. The Federation's entire Fourth Fleet is trapped in the Corton system." Admiral Taeyong rushed to the main command center, where dozens of officers were monitoring transmissions from across the galaxy. The situation was worse than he had imagined. The Harbinger satellites were not just attacking random ships. They were systematically targeting the most advanced vessels from every major civilization. "Every species is trying to fight back," reported Intelligence Chief Sang Min, his face grim as he studied the tactical displays. "The Takari Empire is throwing their most powerful warships at the satellites. The Alteran Republic is trying to hack the control systems. The Collective is attempting to overload the network with coordinated attacks, and," asked Taeyong. "Total failure across the board," replied Sangmin. "Their weapons can't penetrate the Harbinger shields. Their computer specialists can't break through the security systems. Some of their attacks are actually making the satellites stronger." Admiral Taeyang nodded slowly. He had been expecting this day for years. Ever since Dr. Hyojin's research team had made their first major discovery in the ancient debris fields, hidden among the regular galactic garbage, they had found components that were much older and far more advanced than anything else they had encountered. "Signal the fleet," he ordered, his voice calm despite the crisis. "Launch Operation Recycled Thunder." The human response fleet that assembled over the next few hours was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. while alien civilizations built their ships using standardized designs and matching components. Human vessels were patchwork creations that combined technology from dozens of different species. Admiral Tayan's flagship alone contained power systems from the Zephyrians, communication arrays from the Alterans, defensive shields from the Takari, and processing units from at least 6 other civilizations. 2 alien eyes. The ship looked like it had been built in a junkyard. 2 human engineers. It was a masterpiece of adaptive technology. Dr. Hyojin, are you ready? Asked Taeyang as they approached the first group of Harbinger satellites. As ready as anyone can be, replied the lead researcher. Her hands steady on the control panels, she had spent 5 years learning to understand. We've been studying Harbinger components from the debris fields since we started our salvage operations. I think I know how to talk to them. The massive alien fleets that had been attacking the Harbinger network for hours watched in amazement. As the small human ships approached the deadly satellites, everyone expected to witness another disaster. Instead, they saw something impossible. Network recognition confirmed, reported Dr. Hyojin, her voice filled with wonder. The satellites are accepting our command protocols. They think we're part of the original Harbinger civilization. How is that possible? Asked Captain Donghan, who was piloting one of the escort vessels. Because we've been using their technology for years without realizing it, explained Dr. Hyojin. Those ancient power cores we found in the debris. Those were Harbinger components. The communication systems we reverse-engineered. Harbinger technology. The defensive protocols we developed. We based them on Harbinger programming code, while the greatest military forces in galactic history watched helplessly from a safe distance. Human ships moved through the Harbinger network like they belonged there. Dr. Hyojin's team had spent years studying components that the ancient civilization had discarded as outdated or broken. But those components had taught them the language, the protocols, and the thinking patterns of the Harbinger builders. Initiating network shutdown sequence, announced Dr. Hyojin. All satellites responding normally. System deactivation in progress. One by one, the massive Harbinger satellites powered down. The deadly energy beams that had been terrorizing the galaxy flickered and died. The threat that had paralyzed 17 star systems was ending not with a great battle, but with a few commands typed into a salvaged computer terminal. Fleet. Captain Dong Hyen opened a communication channel to the assembled alien fleets. His message was broadcast to every ship, every station, and every government in the Galactic Consortium. The Harbinger network has been successfully deactivated, he announced in the calm, professional tone that human salvage crews used when completing a routine job. All navigation hazards have been cleared. Space lanes are now safe for normal traffic. He paused for a moment, looking at the hundreds of alien warships that had failed to accomplish what a handful of human garbage collectors had just completed in less than an hour. We'll be happy to share our technical specifications with the consortium, he continued, right after we discuss humanity's new status as a Tier 1 galactic civilization. The galaxy had learned a lesson it would never forget. One civilization's trash had become another's foundation for greatness.